What's new in the world, my people? My name is Cyblade, and welcome back to another RWBY X Monster Hunter discussion video. I did one of these about a week ago now, and this is the sequel, getting to Ozpin's faction that I was unable to do last time, and some other characters I'm also missed. Oh, and I almost forgot about the Poogie last time, or I did, but anyway, so as you can see, my Palico here is Lai Ren, based off Nora's best friend, partner, and more than likely, we all know it, they're together, her crush, Lai Ren, and so this might be a little mean, but I feel like Nora would do this. I named the Poogie after her leader, Jean Arc. So that's cute. So basically, we're picking up where we left off last time. Like I said, pairing monsters with characters from RWBY that I feel they'd go together well with. But before we get into the new characters, I was told in the last video that I was a little vague on why Blake should be paired with Garuga, which is fair now that I look back and reevaluate what I said. I didn't really say much of anything. So, Garuga has many different methods of attacking its target, much like Blake. Blake has her Gamble Shroud, which is a sword, a gun, a Kusarigama, and with the sheath, it's also a machete or cleaver, basically, and which pairs back with Garuga, who has many different forms of attack itself. It has its razor-sharp beak, dagger-like talons, spiked, poisonous club tail, and of course it shoots fireballs, so it has something for basically every range, just like Blake herself. So yeah, it's pretty fitting, and their color schemes go together well. Garuga's black and purple. Blake has a lot of black in her outfit and a good little bit of purple as well. Alright, gearing up for the next mission. We're going to be hunting the Kirin again, because I know we already did that in the last video, but it just fits and it'll take up the whole video rather than doing multiple hunts. Yeah, nice big meal. Nice turkey dinner, fitting for Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow, and Nora is actually probably one of the only characters that can eat that whole entire meal herself. Okay, which one is it? Here it is. Okay, Kirin. Oh, going to the northeast camp, because that's closer where Kirin normally spawns. Oh, also, looking back, I feel like I was a little unfair to Roman. I just tossed him with Derpy Gypsaros because, I didn't think of a monster for him when I was actually planning the video, and just stuck him with something I felt fit, but it really didn't. So instead, we're pairing him with, giving him a new monster in Kulu Yaku, which I think fits much better. It's a thief just like Roman, and, it's a little silly, kind of funny, but just like Roman, he gets a few laughs out of everybody, but when it comes down to it and they really need to fight, both of them are more than capable of hurting whatever they have to. the new characters finally, and, you know, just like last time, you know, I still can't, you know, post pictures of the characters or monsters, so I guess just open a couple of Google Images tabs to get, you know, an idea of what the creatures and characters I'm talking about look like. Alright, crawling under this. Sorry, Nora, a little less than modest view of you here.
Yeah.
Alright, now back to the mission at hand. Get the little samples of Kieran here. Alright. Should be just down here. And it is, there it is. Alright, now back to what I was saying, you know, the other characters, starting off with the Ozluminati and Ozpin himself. There's really only one monster I think kind of fits in closely or at all with Ozpin, and even this is a bit of a stretch. It's kind of an evil monster, so I doubt Ozpin would want it to be anywhere near him or his students, but Dire Morales is the monster he's paired with, because in the lore, if Dire Morales is killed, then you haven't actually gotten rid of it. If you were to cut out its heart, you would still hear it beating. The heart is still going and the monster is not dead, and supposedly will regrow just from this severed heart. This is as close as we're getting to Ozpin's cycle of reincarnation. So, oh goodness. Oh, thank you, Ren. Look out, Ren! Okay. Ow, this is not going well. Okay. And again, just like the first video, this really doesn't tie in at all. Oh god. Tie in at all to the RWBY timeline or story, because a lot of these monsters would really just break the story in certain parts. Especially, like I said, you know, Ozpin with Dire Morales, one of the most powerful monsters in, and biggest, not to mention, monsters in the entire series. There's no way Cinder and her faction would have been able to pull off the fall of Beacon. Especially not with the other monsters I have yet to mention too, where the rest of Ozpin's close faction start moving on with Glinda Goodwitch, who has the other black dragon apart from Dire Morales and Fatalis, who I gave to Salem in the last video. So, Elatrion. Admittedly, this reason's a bit flimsy, but with some of these, you know, it's all you got. So, again, there's no telekinesis monster, which would fit well for Goodwitch, but in her fight with Cinder in episode 1 of RWBY, she created that massive ice storm that nearly impaled Roman in the head and managed to stagger even Cinder with her bit of maiden powers. So it's quite impressive. Has to be quite powerful, and this would tie in well with the ultimate attack of Elatrion, which is a rain of massive chunks of ice. Admittedly, it's, you know, slow, and the ice chunks are very spaced out, so against, you know, hunters, it's almost useless, but in this particular case, if, you know, it was using this attack against the big airship like a bullhead, then it likely would have brought it down, and Roman and possibly Cinder, I feel like she probably could have found a way to get away, would have, you know, been brought down and arrested by, you know, Glinda and the Vale police force. So there's that. Now on to General Ironwood. And what better monster for a war-minded general than the B-52 bomber itself, Basilgeuse. I feel like that fit quite well. I could see during the breach that Ironwood would be riding on Basilgeuse's back as it, you know, does its bombing run on the Grim, and he, you know, fires the occasional shot from his pistol while riding on its back. It'll be quite useful for him. And on to the final member of the Oz Illuminati, Crow Bronwyn. I still had trouble with this for, oh god, for quite a while, but then a friend of mine who commented on the last video made a joke that, oh goodness. Alright. Made the joke that I should give Crow an Odogaron because Crow's semblance is bad luck, and for that person, it's bad luck whenever an Odogaron shows up on their hunt, so I got a chuckle out of that. But then looking in closer, it's actually pretty fitting because just like Crow, who transforms into a bird as well, Odogaron can transform. Not as drastically as that, obviously, but it is capable of sprouting an additional set of claws on top of the claws on its feet. And I guess that should have been obvious, but so extra set of, I think, 5 or 6 claws on top of the 4 claws it already has out of nowhere, and these claws are serrated and perfect for drawing blood, which also, you know, so they're quite adaptable and versatile, much like Crow and his weapon Harbinger, which obviously is a massive broadsword or great sword and can transform into a shotgun or a scythe, capable of easily cleaving the Grim in twain. So yes, despite it being a joke, I think Odogaron is the perfect monster for Crow. Oh goodness. Let's just hope it has some way of following him whenever he turns into a bird and has to fly around everywhere. Oh god. And now, on to Beacon Staff, not, as far as we know, not part of the Oz Illuminati, but still close trusted allies of Professor Ozpin, starting with Dr. Oobleck. Now this again was quite difficult, but I paired him with another massive Elder Dragon, Lao Shanlong, or Lao Shanlong, either way, which is a massive mountain-sized Elder Dragon. At first doesn't sound too fitting, but then you remember, again, this might be a little flimsy, but it's the best we got, that Oobleck is a history teacher and very much, you know, a history major, looks into a lot of historical events. We saw during his mission with Team RWBY at Mountain Glen, you know, he picked up on the littlest things. He saw the ruined city and saw lives that could have been saved by, you know, digging deeper, finding the mistakes and learning from them. And with this giant monster that has lived for thousands of years, according to lore and a few characters in the game, I feel like RWBY could pick up a lot from it. Like, he could observe maybe this piece of a building from a village stuck in its side that it trampled through, and piece together, oh, this came from this dynasty, this village we know little about, and maybe, you know, learn little tidbits from this small discovery, or, you know, maybe learn how to repel giant dragons such as this from the mistakes of these other villages. Or, better yet, don't put villages right in the middle of a clear and easy path for a giant dragon. But now moving on to the Beacon's Grim Expert, and likely if the monsters were in Monster Hunter, he'd be the monster expert as well, Professor Port. And what better monster for him than the Bulldrome, which is a massive wild boar, basically. It fits in well because Port captured that Vorbatusk in Volume 1 that Weiss fought against. So it makes sense he'd capture a similar, albeit much larger, boar monster, and Port's kind of, or at least in jokes, he's a bit of a pig, as, you know, he's a little on the round side, and he, you know, winked and clicked his tongue at Yang, so that is not exactly proper conduct for a teacher, but we all played it off as a joke, and yeah, but since Bulldrome is a relatively weak, low-level monster, nowhere near Port's level as a huntsman, we're making it arch-tempered, which is a version of a monster that has survived hunts with hunters and grown stronger because of it. So that puts it at least closer to Port's level than just your average run-of-the-mill. Alright then. Now, moving on to some students that I missed the last time, but also, oh goodness, whew, thank goodness for that little air steering the hammer gives you. So, there were some students that unfortunately we don't really have a great deal of information about that I kind of had to skip over, such as Yatsuhashi from Team Coffee. I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for that, but again, we just don't know too much about him. Even with the new Fall of Beacon, or After the Fall novel, and a bit from the Amity Coliseum game, we still don't know too much about him, so giving him a monster was tough, so we're just going off physical appearance from this. He's big, tough, tanky, and has a lot of armor plating, and what monster fits better than that than Gravios? an absolutely massive monster that has rock-tough armor and a powerful club tail. Fits quite well with Yatsuhashi himself. Then Sage from Team Sun. Again, we really only saw a little bit of him, didn't get to know a whole lot about him. He's basically just a bit of a smaller version of Yatsuhashi. A tank with a big weapon that didn't last too long in the fight he was in. So what fits better than that than the smaller version of Gravios, the Bizarrios? Smaller, still tanky, and got a rock-hard shell, but, you know, less experience, can't fight quite as well, doesn't last quite as long, but, you know, still a good monster. Has a lot of potential, like I see Sage probably could have in the future. And finally, the pirate-like member of Team Sun, Scarlet. Again, we don't really know much about him, so kinda gotta wing it here. He's a pirate, or looks like a pirate, so I'm giving him a sea monster, the Leviathan Gobule, which one of the smaller Leviathans, to be sure, but still, you know, quite a decent early on water monster, and fits well with, you know, Scarlet. He's a first year, he's got a way to go, but he can become quite a bit more in the future, more than likely, so yeah. Now on to the students I can actually talk about and give monsters to. Starting with Sun Wukong. The monkey-tailed faunus leader of Team Sun, and, well, the team's namesake, obviously. And since Yang already got Rajang, probably the best fit for Sun, we're giving him the runner-up monkey monster with Congalala, which I think is a slightly better fit, actually. It's, you know, Congalala, it can put up a good fight, but it is mostly just kind of a silly monkey monster. Doesn't take very much seriously, a lot like Sun himself. I mean, of course, when the situation requires seriousness, Sun can certainly accommodate, and so can Congalala, but for the most part, they're goofing around. And next on to Neptune Vasilius. And again, a bit of a tough call, but I think this is gonna seem like a mismatch at first, but we're going to pair him with Lagiacrus, the very first of the Leviathans, and much like Neptune's namesake, referred to be like the king of the sea, at least excluding Cadeus or Nakarkos, because they're elder dragons and don't really show up that often. But anyways, so again, like I said, this seems like a mismatch. You know, Neptune's afraid of the water. Why would they pair him with a water monster? Well, just that, honestly. I mean, is a big water monster. I feel like if they were stranded out at sea, that, you know, it'd be a great chance for Neptune to learn to swim, you know, big. But you ain't gotta be scared of the water if you got a giant water monster watching your back and could easily, you know, swim under you and hold you above water if you start to drown. But also, it's a thunder elemental monster, much like Neptune and his electric weapons between his trident and lightning shooting gun. So, yeah, fits quite well, I'd say. Now, on to Team Coffee. Everyone's favorite second years. And starting with their fashionista leader, Coco Adele. Now, like I said, Coco's a bit of a fashionista, a bit of a diva, and what fits better with those two things than Lunastra, the beautiful elder dragon of blue flames that can also has, you know, a bit of a haughty attitude, since, you know, it's often called the Empress or Queen of Flames, so it's got a bit of a royal attitude, but also very beautiful and quite powerful, much like Coco herself. So, yeah. Fits quite well, I believe, and really took a lot quicker than I expected. Oh well, anyways. So yeah, Coco gets Lunastra. Elder Dragon, maybe a little above her station, but, you know, we saw she was, like I said, quite powerful herself, between, you know, kicking down large barrels with ease, or her minigun, which was able to literally shatter massive Grim that it took the entirety of Team RWBY or Juniper to put down before her. So moving along then to Fox Alistair, Team Coffee's blind attacker. I'm sorry, I said blind. I tripped over my blind twice. Tripped over myself here. So, yeah, he's blind, but he's still quite capable and going through pretty much anything in his way, capable of, you know, dealing with an Ursa Major, something Jean struggled with quite a bit, with ease. Alright. Oh yeah, next on to everyone's favorite bunny girl, Velvet Scarlatina, and this one was an easy pick. What better for the bunny girl than the massive... It's, you know, a gentler monster. You know, mostly eats insects and obviously vegetation. What little it can find in, you know, the frozen mountains it calls home normally, but... So yeah, gentler monster, fit for gentle Velvet, but also when push comes to shove, much like a lot of these monsters, or weaker monsters, capable of taking on monsters well above them if they need to. That was fun. And it's also a nice touch. I feel like, you know, Cardin wouldn't have dared bullied Velvet if she had a giant bear following her all the time. Now, sadly, we have to talk about Team Cardinal, and I'm not wasting much time on these guys. They get the Raptor Drome monsters from the early games. Iodrome, Gendrome, Geodrome, or Gaiadrome, and Velocidrome. Cardin gets Iodrome because out of the four, it's the most powerful of these raptor monsters, and it's poisonous, and Cardin's freaking toxic. So that fits. And the others, I don't really care. But to, do this right and give them and properly pair them with each monster, I guess Russell gets the Velocidrome because he seems to be the speedy member of the team. Skylark gets the Gaiadrome because it's the easiest to take down the first you encounter, or at least in Monster Hunter 2, the game I started with. And oh good. And Dove Bronzewing gets the Gendrome because it's the last one. Now, onto other characters that I can stand a little better because I don't want to end the video talking about those guys. A few members of the White Fang, Adam, Sienna Khan, and the redeemed Ilya. But anyways, so starting off with Blake's mentor / possible boyfriend / stalker and psychopath, the now finally deceased Adam Taurus. And this may be a little mean, but kind of obvious, he's a bull faunus. Pair him with Duramboros, the big bull monster. Quite powerful, just like Adam was, and again, it's really the only other bull monster. So getting that out the way. And on to Sienna Khan, the sadly deceased former leader of the White Fang, assassinated by Adam. And for her, again, maybe a bit of a cop-out, but we're giving her Tigrex. She was a Tiger Faunus, pair her with the Tiger Monster, Tigrex. Maybe if she had that around with her, Adam wouldn't have killed her so easily. And we wouldn't have had such a wasted character like the Rooster Teeth tends to do. No offense, Rooster Teeth, I love you guys, but you do tend to kill off characters that, we just meet and could prove to have a lot of potential, but then go nowhere because, like I said, you kill them. Finally, onto the redeemed member of the White Fang, Ilya, and well, this, yes, still just pairing her with the monster similar to her animal trait. It does fit quite a bit. Chameleos, the chameleon elder dragon, capable of, disappearing, turning completely invisible and striking out of nowhere, much like Ilya, able to transform and turn colors to hide her from sight and make her attacks easier or harder to see and difficult to counter or predict. Oh yeah, again, Elder Dragon may be a little above her station, but she proved to be, a good bit of a challenge, so and also, Chameleos is a poison monster capable of well, poisoning people, obviously, and taking even the strongest fighters out of the fight, much like Ilya with her lightning whip was able to put down Sun with relative ease, albeit because he had wasted his aura pinning her with his shadow clones, or whatever you call them. And now, for the last character I'm gonna manage to be able to get to, but one of my favorites, so happy she's finally back in Volume 7, spoiler, is Penny Polendina, our favorite cyborg girl. And Penny is one of the most powerful characters in RWBY because of her robotic anatomy and incredible technology she has to fight with. Lasers, swords with wires, etc., etc. And this fits in quite well with Atel Ka, another powerful monster. Small, well, I mean, still at least twice the size of your average human, but still small by Monster Hunter standards. A golden praying mantis. It's just a big bug, you wouldn't assume too much from it, but then it starts picking up deadly weapons, like it's stolen from entire castles it's raided, such as iron girders, dragonators, the things we use to put down things like Lao Shan Lung, a giant wheel from somewhere, we don't know where that came from. But finally, the thing I feel fits most with Penny, since she's a robot, it is capable of taking all the scrap metal and such it's stolen from the castles it's wrecked, like I said again, and is able to use its fine golden silk to web it all together and create a giant mech monster, Atel Nesto. This is what makes it capable of taking down entire castles, entire kingdoms, and again, mech, Penny the robot, I feel it fits quite well. These two I could see defending Atlas quite well together. So yeah, that's the list of characters I've got. Maybe I'll do side characters if you guys really want. Let me know in the comments, but this is the last video for RWBY Monster Hunter pairing that I expect to do. Again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and what monsters you would have paired them with. You can think of anything better, or where are you going? No, you're not. There we go. Finally didn't break a monster, Nora. Good job. So yeah, and again, and let me know what other anime characters or anime you might want me to cross over with Monster Hunter, pair these guys up with down in the comments. You know, you guys are what's making this channel run. I'm really looking forward to hearing your guys' input. So, next time, I plan to do My Hero Academia and characters and pair, Class 1A up with a few monsters. Again. So, get studied up on, My Hero Academia characters and monsters from Monster Hunter outside of just World. And again, like I said, you got other ideas, other anime you want me to check out and pair with? Let me know. So, also something I forgot to say about Blake and Jan Garuga, they're both capable of taking on things quite above their station. Like Blake, I'm getting mixed up now. Blake able to take on Roman Torchwick, albeit with either help from Sun or Weiss with the dust ammo clip, but still capable of taking on someone with Huntsman training. And a Dogoran and capable of taking on someone with Huntsman training and just one of the most dangerous criminals in at least Vale, or he's got quite a reputation. But Blake was able to beat him quite soundly with the right tools, and Jan Garuga was able to take down a freaking Devil Joe. So yeah, both quite capable of taking on things above their station. Maybe Blake should have handled Cinder instead. Trip her up a bit with the Shadow clones or Dust clones, and Jan Garuga could beat up Cinder's Devil Joe. Also, sorry that again I've had a bit of a delay with my videos. My computer's been messing up lately, shutting down on its own. I'll have to upload or get a new one soon, so yeah, I haven't been risking uploads lately, but yeah, hopefully. But we're trying with this one. We'll see what happens. And so now I've said pretty much everything I've got to say, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry I broke down and rambled in a few parts, but if you like this and you want to see more, go ahead and slash that subscribe button. Oh goodness, Crow, control your monster. If you like this, go ahead and hit that like. Go ahead and give a quick hit of the like button. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, my people, stay sharp. Sharper than Odogoron's claws, which I hope stay away from me.